Why am I doing a finale like only after 2 episodes in the season? It's because first of all, I do believe we've understood the most common aspect found in the DNA of the unsung heroes who fought for the freedom of India. It's bravery, it's courage, it's the ability to take highly calculated risks, and their vision. A vision of a free and an independent India. Because most of these unsung heroes have had a very short lifespan, the amount of material published on them is very low. And on top of that, it is very difficult to also verify that information in that limited amount of stories published. And many a times these unsung heroes have had to redo or undo the work of their previous generation or the previous hero in order to finally get to that final step where they actually accomplish something in the fight for the freedom of India. This can become very repetitive. It eventually becomes the same story being told over and over again, and most of the stories that get published and the most of the information that's available is on the most prominent figures already, which is why finishing this season with not one story but 3 people. Yes, you heard that right. It's a story about 3 people whose fate eventually got connected into one single event, whom I personally like to address them as the 3 original musketeers. Benoy, Basu, Badal Gupta and Dinesh Gupta, all around the same age, no more than 22 years of age. All 3 of them were born in the Munshiganj district, which is located in the present-day Bangladesh. Benoy Basu was born on September the 11th, 1908. He was studying medicine at Mitford Medical School, which is currently located in present-day Dhaka, capital city of Bangladesh. Even during those days, Benoy Basu was already associating himself with the people who were participating in the revolutionary activities, whether through it was means of violence or not. One such society that Benoy had become part of was Mukti Sangha, which is also one of the reasons Benoy wasn't able to complete his medical education. Badal Gupta, also known as Sudhir Gupta, was born in 1912. His original birth date is still unavailable and unconfirmed. His true inspiration for revolutionary activities had come from his own paternal family members, late Dharaninath Gupta and Nagendranath Gupta. These 2 were part of the same society that Khudiram Bose, the story which has been told in the previous episode, were part of. The society's name was Anushilan Samiti, who had later been convicted in the Alipur bomb case. So long story short, the Alipur bomb case is nothing but a colloquial term to represent the criminal case that was filed against the members of the secret society named Anushilan Samiti. As mentioned in the previous story of Khudiram Bose, he was also part of this society. And the 2 paternal family members of Badal Gupta, whose name I had mentioned previously, were also part of this society. They were also among the 40 other Bengali nationalists who were arrested by the British police. They were imprisoned in the presidency jail in Alipur district. They were eventually presented in court for a trial. This is the main source of inspiration for Badal Gupta. Dinesh Gupta, the 3rd musketeer, was born on the 16th of December 1911, who also used to study in the present-day city of Dhaka, in the Dhaka College, and would also participate in the revolutionary activities. 3 different youngsters and their fates tie up when all of them decided to join the new revolutionary group named Bengal Volunteers Corps, formed in 1928 by the legendary freedom fighter of India, Mr. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, in the Calcutta session of the Indian National Congress. He had appointed Major Satya Gupta for the leadership role, and he, Mr. Netaji himself, was the General Officer Commanding, or the GOC, of the group. Benoy Basu was responsible for creating and handling the local unit of this revolutionary group in the same city he lived in, Dhaka. In 1930, this group had launched Operation Freedom, which was basically an opposing means of act or a rebellion of sorts against the police's brutal treatment of the prisoners in jails all around the state of Bengal. In August 29, 1930, this group decided to kill Loman, the Inspector General of Police, who was going to visit the medical school hospital in Dhaka in order to see the health progress of a senior police officer. And who else was studying medicine in that medical college in Dhaka? That's right, Benoy Basu. Benoy Basu was wearing traditional Bengali clothes at that time and walking around in the medical college until Loman had arrived. As soon as Loman had arrived and he was going to visit his senior police officer, Benoy Basu somehow managed to sneak past the security check. And when he managed to sneak past the security check, he brings his pistol out, walks up to him, he looks Loman into the eye and shoots him point blank. Loman had died instantly on the spot. Benoy Basu had even managed to escape Dhaka to Kolkata, better known then as Calcutta. On a side note, it reminds me of this scene from The Godfather. There's just one scene in the first Godfather where Michael Corleone is sitting in an Italian restaurant with Sollozzo and the policeman, and he takes out a gun and manages to shoot them point blank and walks away. I mean, I'm not trying to compare the characters or anything, or I'm just comparing the action itself, that how I visually imagine Benoy Basu might have done, or how nervous he might have felt and how relieved he might have felt when he had managed to finally escape as well. Although Benoy Basu was doing it for a more prominent reason, he still must have been very nervous. This group was not going to be satisfied with just one assassination. They had already planned out their next target way beforehand. Their next target was Lieutenant Colonel N.S. Simpson, the Inspector General Police of Prisons, who was widely known for his brutality and inhuman treatment of the prisoners in jails all around the state of Bengal. And most of the prisoners were in fact most likely falsely accused. Now, the reason why they wanted to assassinate this official was not only to dent the power of British rule in India, but they also wanted to strike fear among the British officials. They did so by planning an attack on the Secretariat building, better known as the Writers building, located in Dalhousie Square in Kolkata. Benoy Basu, Badal Gupta, Dinesh Gupta. Before entering the Writers building, they decided to blend in among the officials. So they decided to wear European costumes, assuming a three-piece suit. And before they were entering the building, they knew that they could breathe their last within that building. They also knew that they could even manage to miss the target itself. But their main mission was to create fear and terror among the British officials, which would in a sense create a panic in them. So these three youngsters managed to enter the building. They walk up towards N.S. Simpson, and before N.S. Simpson could even react as to why these three youngsters were simply looking at him, these three youngsters, without any hesitation, pulled their guns out, pointed N.S. Simpson's and finished the bullets and shoot him until they ran out of bullets. Before they had even ran out of bullets, they were surrounded by other British police officers. Now, N.S. Simpson had died on the spot. That second part of their mission was already successful. They had created terror among the British officials. They managed to assassinate the key target. And now they wanted to keep their pride. They knew they were going to get caught by the British police officers. Badal Gupta, he decided to take the potassium cyanide pill right on the spot and died instantly. Benoy Basu and Dinesh Gupta put their guns on their head and shoot themselves. The two lone survivors out of the three original musketeers, Benoy Basu and Dinesh Gupta. They were taken to the hospital, and on the way to the hospital, Benoy Basu was so adamant at not getting into the hands of the British officials and the police, he kept poking finger into the gunshot wound he had on the head, finally infecting it, and until he reached the hospital, he had already passed away. Despite the fatal gunshot wound, Dinesh Gupta had somehow managed to survive. After his treatment at the hospital, he was taken to the court for trial, where he was ordered death by hanging. This was the story of Benoy Basu, Badal Gupta, and Dinesh Gupta. After recognizing their efforts, the Dalhousie Square, where the Writers building is still located in the city of Kolkata, has been renamed to BBD Bagh. B for Benoy, B for Badal, and D for Dinesh. Bagh is just a Hindi term for the garden. However, not many people even know that the BBD Bagh actually refers to Benoy, Badal, and Dinesh, which is why I want to tell these stories to the people. The story is about India. I could easily tell these stories in Hindi itself. I decided to tell the story in English because not everyone in this country of India speaks Hindi or understands Hindi. And I believe this story, the story of courage and bravery, that just the sheer struggle these people went through just to get freedom, I believe this story needs to be told around the globe. Thank you everyone once again for watching this episode. I hope to see you next time with someone else's story, and until then, take care, keep writing your own life story, and stay safe. Ciao ciao.